How do you know your spirit is healthy? I mean, it's easy to know that your body is healthy, like your blood pressure is normal, you're able to do physical activity. There's so many parameters or ways on objectively knowing how healthy your body is. And so also with your mind, you're able to cope with stress, you're able to keep up with the demands of the day to day. But how about your spirit? How do you know your spirit is healthy? So there are certain attributes that are so deep and innate that you cannot get these with just eating right and exercising. And I'll just go through a few of them. So you can see there's a lot listed on the slide: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And a lot of times in regular literature, a lot of times love is also used in the place of like, but there are some slight nuances that actually give them a completely different meaning when you're talking from a spiritual perspective. So to give you an example, when you're talking about a love that is so deep that comes from your relationship with God, it's that type of love that helps you to love others in a more selfless way. For instance, I can like my neighbor. I think they're nice. And, if they come on a regular time to hang out, I can do that. But if they knock on my door in the middle of the night saying, hey, my kid is sick, can you help me take them to the ER? And I know I have to wake up early and probably go to work and have some presentation. Love is where I would still help my neighbor take her kid to the ER or whatever. But I guess you can see my point. Love is so much more selfless. And it's just not it's more than a feeling. It's more something that comes from a place where you're being way more selfless. And again, that cannot just come from humans, because humans in general, we tend to be selfish. But when you have more of a relationship with a higher being, it almost pulls that out of you. And so when you hear words like love your neighbor as yourself, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, pray for those who spitefully use you, those things don't come to human beings naturally. But when you develop a relationship with God, he gives you that ability to do it. So that's what when you find yourself in that place where you are like, hey, before I had a relationship with a higher power, I couldn't do these things, but now I can. So your spirit is in a healthy place. Similarly, with the other attributes like joy. Joy, again, is not the same as happiness. Happiness is triggered by external factors like, hey, I got a job, yay, or my kids, they're doing great, I'm so happy. And like most of us, we've all been there, and we know those things don't last. They can probably last a few days and then it's gone. But the joy that you get from your relationship with the higher power is so much deeper. And what kind of advantages does that kind of spiritual practice give you for your mind and your body? Because when you have that sort of an internal joy that is not directly tied to external factors, what you will find that things can be going like chaotic around you, but that internal joy that you have gives you the mental grit, because you always have some sort of an internal positivity no matter what's going on. And sometimes you see this in people, and I'm not even talking about me, I'm talking about people who've had the strong spiritual connection. They can have, some like in war situation or deaths. Yes, they feel sad. Yes, they feel grief, but they have this internal, and it almost overlaps into peace and almost a positivity that, again, you cannot give that to yourself by just eating right and exercising. It comes from having that sort of relationship with a higher power.